Bonipan, and I will continue our discussions the clinical trial. So we will start about the Gantt chart. What is the Gantt chart? And it's a varying linkages between the predecessors and successors. And the question is, what are the predecessors and successors? The predecessors are the tasks, are the jobs that should be completed before the another tasks. Okay, and the successors is the jobs or the tasks that they are not to start before the previous task is completed. So the successors and the predecessors, they are depend on each other. And what is a Gantt chart? Actually, it's visually represented the tasks of the projects. Okay, so it's like a sequence of the project tasks, and there is a predecessors. These jobs or these tasks should be completed before the another task begin, and successors, these tasks, they are not begin until the previous tasks should be completed. So these are the Gantt chart, and the Gantt chart is a visually represented all the tasks and responsibilities of the project. Critical path is a timeline for the shortest overall time, and delaying the task on the critical path will delay the project. So we said in its name a critical path, so it's important to begin. So start to start, predecessor must start before the successor can start, and that's completely explain what I have said before. Predecessor must finish before successor start. Predecessor must finish before the successor start. Predecessor must start before the successor can finish. Sometimes like that, and that is depend in this arrow, because predecessor should be completed and then the successors. And again, the same thing, the predecessor should be completed then the successor. And here the same, but here the processor start and then the successor start, but it should be start before the successor finish. So these are what we call them as again. This is a start, and this is task 2, task 3, task 4, and then task 6, task 9. And you look to these arrows, that exactly explain what these predecessor and successors, and according to the arrows we can know. And then the finish requirements for, so we explain that is a predecessor task that come before the other task, successors tasks that come after other tasks, but also depends on the hours. Like here, it should start before the successors finish, because maybe it start here a predecessor and then successor and the predecessor and these things. Okay, requirements for the project managers: enthusiasm, that's mean they will excited for this project, and teamwork, they should be communicated with each other and have connect with each other, and they happy to work with each other. Ability to handle the change and ambiguity, any change, any amendments, they should able to handle it. And then the knowledge of industry or technology, if you just work in this, you should know all informations about it. The planning meetings, invitation, what will be discussed, pre-read information needed for the meeting, and then the meeting minutes. The agile planning, it's like we subdivided the tasks. Like we have a big task and we subdivide it into small tasks to be able to handle with it. Estimation of work via self-containing work units. Exactly, we just subdivide it into the work units, and we have these iterations and the sprints. The sprint here, that we can see here, the sprint is a short set period for the task. For example, for 1 week, or this task should be done in 1 week or done in 1 to 2 weeks, and for specific things to have done. Okay, this is the sprint. And what is the iteration? Is like repeated cycles of the work. Okay, after each sprint, for example, the team evaluate the results and maybe think there is need some improvement, and then they do iterations, like repeated cycles of the work. Then we go to the patient level matrix. Functional groups provide services to the project teams managed by the directors. So here we can see the project manager, okay, and then the line manager, and then the site and the project management, and regularities, drug supply, and data management. And then we do the study ABCD. So this is the project level matrix. And then the roles and responsibilities: study management, site management, and then the sponsors. But we have here see the investigator, and always the investigator by it has like a doctor or a dentist, and is responsible for the clinical research site. And then he write the protocol and send it to the sponsors, who are responsible also for the writing the protocol. The sponsors is responsible for writing the protocol. The investigator, it should be sure that the everything that is present in the site is adherence to the protocol. The investigator responsible also for the treatment of the patient. And then if there is any improvement, termination, or suspension or anything, it can maybe send it to the sponsors, or it can maybe it's good, but if the sponsor refuse that, it can be sent to the IRB or health authorities, directly. And if they say no, then he should notify also the sponsors, as we mentioned before. The investigator also responsible for data collection, but the data management, data audit, and inspections is responsibility for the sponsors. Clinical trial results, also the investigator done it, but also the sponsor should revise it. Okay, and regularity, drug supply, data management, and here we have the drug and the data collections. And again, the rules and the activities. The first one is the start, the trial set up according to the protocol, and the documents should be visible. Investigator brochure, a protocol signed about the site and the project management, the study planning, site selection, visit site selection and activation, regularity, CT submission, drug supply, production, distribution, packaging, and data management. Conduct, if there is any amendment or changes, regularity, monitoring visits, drug dispensing, and verification and data cleaning. And the close out, we have the CSR, which is not case study report, and the close out, the visit results reporting. The advantages of using formal project management: better control of financial, physical, and human resources, improved customer relation, shorter development time, lower cost, higher quality and increased reliability, higher profit margins, improved productivity, better internal coordination, and higher work morale. And then we talk about the vulnerable patients unable to consent. Impartial witness recovered if the subject cannot read. Inform subject about the trial according to their understanding. For example, if the patient has severe dementia, or if the participants are children. Willingness to volunteer, unduly influenced by expectations. Oncology, like they have all the right, they have all the the willingness to volunteer. We shouldn't talk to them that you will have a big treatment and a good treatment for your cancer, and there will be nothing. Okay, so that shouldn't be done. Okay, and then incurable diseases, unemployment, poverty, or refugees, or homelessness. Retaliations from senior members in hierarchy in case of refusal, like students, employees, soldiers, and prisons. These are under the vulnerable patients. Assessments of a minors, like a children, for example, only research directly relating to the child clinical condition. Shared custody requires both parents to sign. Child's assent not required but favored by IRB/IEC. Parental consent should reflect wishes of the child. The child should be involved as much as possible. Conduction of non-therapeutic trials. Consent of legally accessible representative in case of objectives not met by the subject able to consent. Low risk. Legal and approval by RBIEC. Enrollment in emergencies requires consent of legally accessible representative if prior consent by the subject is not possible. If representative is unavailable, enrollment requires measure described in a protocol with it documented approved by RBIEC, like unconscious patients, available treatment unsatisfactory, like a magnesium in a cardiac arrest trial. If it's, the patient, he cannot answer, he cannot say yes or no, he's just completely unconscious. And in the real world, there is nothing, there is no proven treatment for him. So we can make the consent from the representative one of these patients and ask him if it's okay to do that or not. And then we go to the patient flow. The patient flow, it started with the recruitment, pre-screening, referrals, and patient interest in a trial, and then enrollment, treatment, retention. So again, the start is set up, then the conduct, patient recruitment and enrollment, and then patient treatment and retention, and all these under the conduct and the close out. Site management rule about the site, patient identification, physician talk, patient study risk and benefits, document in a medical record enrollment log, signed informed consent, and then for the patient side informed consent, documents in a medical record that transfer to the EDC system. In and exclusion, demographics, medical history, V1, V2, last visit, like visit 1, visit 2, and last visit, and then the screening failure. Recruitment of the patients, issues like high number of competing trials, for example, like oncology, and the patient retention. Like identify the patient using medical records, identify patient using hospital records, and make like statistics about what is happen. And these are the participation of the patients. And there is something is called the patient centricity, and that's mean the patient it will be putting in the middle of, or we can say in the center of a clinical trial, in the center of everything. Like we deal the patient as an important thing. Aim to reduce the burden of the participation. Optimization of a protocol on conduct, reduce visits, home visits. Optimization of endpoint to the patient needs. Welcome kit, information about the disease, the study, patient is a part of something big. Diary in a structure like electronic patient reported outcome. Visit calendar, opti, and for the retention program. And about the withdrawal may happen anytime. Patient doesn't have to disclose the reason, good to know though. Common causes of withdrawal: difficulty to comply with the study drug, adverse drug effects, intratuable side effects, physical debilation preventing in-office visits, study endpoints is reached, hesitance to continue with the study drug, reallocation, needs to be reported and explained in the case report form, episcopal conduction of a final visit, discussion, collection of unused study drug, paperwork, no collection of additional data, no more contact, loss to follow up, procedure specifying type and timing of the data to be collected for withdrawing subjects, if how subjects are replaced, follow up for withdrawing subjects. That will be the end of our lecture today. The coming lecture we will discuss the types of the data flow, and the patient reported outcome, because we mentioned it before, and something about the other things as you can see here. So be with us, we will discuss some important things in the next lecture. Thank you for listening. Hope you understand anything.